is Haunting and Heartbreaking by Angelo Badalamenti, known mostly for his Twin Peaks stuff, but he also did most of David Lynch's movies, and that's just as appropriate for this Halloween season. It is now less than 2 weeks to Halloween. Halloween is on Thursday the 31st, and today is Saturday the 19th of October. So we've got, like I said, 12 days before Halloween. So this is Dylan Knows, and welcome to the Pumpkin King's shirt thing, whatever. And speaking of Halloween, I got my Halloween decorations. Most of them up today. I'll probably do more of the interior stuff tomorrow. It's supposed to rain all day here in Reisterstown, but I got my Jack Skellington inflatable up. I got my lights up. I got my light show thing sort of going on as well. So we're good on that. I got a few more things I need to add to it, but I haven't gotten a chance to do it yet. A lot of stuff going on this week, though. Last week was, remember, my short, a little bit over an hour episode. I did very late due to watching a movie on Sci-Fi. There's another movie on Sci-Fi today, but I wasn't feeling it today. Plus, I have 3.5 pages worth of stuff to talk about today. I've got the return of In Dreams. I had 2 really whacked out dreams last night that I wanted to talk about as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the Baltimore Comic-Con, which is out this weekend. So the last day will be on Sunday. Probably should have mentioned it sooner. A couple of deaths that hit us pretty hard this week. Life on Mars, Pokemon stuff, Batman casting, the darkest color ever created. John Cho gets injured. Is Alan Moore cursing people an actual Florida man story? An Iowa family's worst nightmare for Halloween comes true. Let's see, anything else I can tease here real quick. Some animal stuff, some Christmas tree things. We have a little bit of Christmas discussion here. And I don't know, some other stuff as well. Got a whole bunch of stuff, so let's just get started right away. Let me get a little bit of a drink here. So first up is Baltimore Comic-Con was started yesterday, the 18th of October. Today, the 19th. I think the Ringo Awards are happening right now, even as we speak. And then tomorrow will be the last day. So if you're in the area, head on down to the Baltimore Convention Center. I did a bad job this year of pushing it. It's one of the events that I'm really, really like to push because the guy who owns my comic store, which is literally right up the street from me, let me see if I get my directions right. His comic store is right over there, about 5 minutes from here, walking distance. He is in charge of the Baltimore Comic-Con, and it's its 20th year, so he's been doing a good job of running it. So, hey, 20 years of Baltimore Comic-Con, and it's also one of the best ones if you want to talk to creators, because all the creators want to do the Baltimore show. I guess they're treated very well. They like the area. And the Comic-Con is more of a focus on that instead of the media stuff, which is what San Diego is now. Over the years, Baltimore Comic-Con has opened up the media a little bit. Last year, they had an insane amount of media last year, and then this year, not so much. And I think mainly due to the fact is Baltimore Comic-Con does not have a set time. It comes in whenever the convention center downtown is open. So last year it was the last weekend in September, I think 28th, 29th, and 30th, something like that. This year, obviously, it was the 18th, 19th, and 20th. Next year, they'll reveal the date next year at the end of the con tomorrow. So I'll be able to let you know on next week's show when next year's 2020 Baltimore Comic-Con is. So I can maybe hopefully push for more during the year to get more people to come here to Baltimore, because it's a really nice show, particularly if you're more into the comic book aspect of things and not really the media stuff. Now, we do have some media things. The voice, Tara Strong, the voice of many of your favorite cartoon characters, is down here right now. The guy who does the voice for Beast Boy on Teen Titans Go, he's down here as well. There's a guy from Battlestar Galactica who's really gone above and beyond this year. He's having bar trips in the Constellation and stuff like that. So that's kind of cool. So we'll see. And there's some wrestlers, I think, in town. So a lot of good stuff. So if you're in the area and you see this between now and tomorrow by, I don't know, say 1 o'clock, so you can spend some time down there, head on down to the Baltimore Convention Center. You can't miss it. It's right next to Camden Yards, the Orioles Stadium, and right near the Inner Harbor. So definitely worthwhile trip. Halloween, as I told you, is coming fast and quickly, and there's lots of stuff we're going to talk about Halloween-wise. I'm going to sprinkle it through the show today, but this one is, I've been talking about Halloween costumes. Well, they have one called Miss Impeachment Halloween costume. It's basically is a beauty contest costume, but instead of it being Miss America or whatever, it's Miss Impeachment. So I think that's kind of funny and goofy. New York, this is kind of interesting. New York was under a lightning warning the same night as the Broadway debut of the musical version of the Rick Riordan story, Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. And when we talk about irony, that's the most ironic thing. The book takes place in New York. Broadway is in New York. There was a lightning warning in New York, and there is Lightning Thief in the play. So just kind of a unique, interesting, ironic sort of story there. Bone is a series that in my bookshelf back there, I'm not going to get up, run over and get it. I probably should have, because I don't want to waste people's time by running over in the back, grabbing the book. There's an omnibus I have of all the Bone stories. And Bone is one of these really cool, great, all ages sort of comic books that came out years ago. And now Netflix is going to be making an animated series featuring the Bone characters and based on Bone. So I think that's actually going to be absolutely brilliant. If they can keep the Jeff Smith animation or art style to it, it could be really, really good. And it's a really strong, it's a really good storyline and well worth people to check out. So that should be interesting. Probably be debuting sometime next year. Obviously, they've got to animate it, do the voice things. I would assume probably around this time next year, probably, when it comes out. Wow, I lost 2 viewers in 7 minutes. Wow, it must be that bad. Like some of my one loyal viewer. Hi, I see you. Also on Netflix, this is kind of a bad story, but John Cho, he of Star Trek and Harold and Kumar and a whole bunch of other stuff, he was cast in a live action version of Cowboy Bebop, the manga anime sensation. And Netflix wanted to do a live action version of it, and they just started production on it. So they were hoping that it would get done, and then they would be able to release it sometime next year. That's not going to happen now, unfortunately, because John Cho injured himself while filming the show. He did something that probably happens to a lot of football players. You wouldn't expect to happen to actors, but I guess if you're doing your own stunts, it does. He tore up his knee pretty good, and he's going to have surgery on it and then rehab. So looking at a 7 to 9 month break from filming it. 7 to 9. They're going to shut down filming for 7 to 9 months as he recovers from the knee injury. Now he's upset about it, and Netflix upset about it, but there's really nothing you can do about it. Injuries happen all the time. Happens in football all the time. Pat Mahomes, who was the front runner for MVP, he did something he dislocated his kneecap last week in a football game last week. I can't remember where it was at. I think it was Denver, actually. And he's not going to be out as long as John Cho is. He could have been, but he's not. But those things happen all the time. You never know what's going to happen. The Ravens, my team, they lost another corner, so we've had to go out and get a few people to cover. So we've got a whole new secondary starting up tomorrow against the Seattle Seahawks. So we'll see how that goes. Now, I've never been a Fortnite player, but occasionally I have done stories about Fortnite on this show because I find them actually really interesting. And this one just adds to the Fortnite story. Earlier this week, Fortnite was announcing that something big was going to happen in the game in preparation of their new season starting. And I think they said 6 million people viewed what happened on their game Fortnite, which is a shared world sort of event. A black hole appeared in the game and sucked the game into the black hole. And for about 5 days, there was nothing but black screen when you went to try to play Fortnite. So all the kids, kids my son's age, my daughter's age, who are huge Fortnite fans, they were unable to play Fortnite for about 3 to 5 days. And all that showed was a black screen because the Fortnite world got sucked into a black hole. They're thinking, oh my God, that's terrible. Why did they do that for? Well, a few days later, Fortnite 2 came out and is now the new game that everybody's playing now, and it's taking the place of the original Fortnite. So obviously they had this in plans in motion for a long time, because you can't just go, okay, we're going to make a new Fortnite game and we're just going to do it like this, blah, like that. No, they've probably been working on it for about a year or so, and they needed a way probably to introduce themselves in a big and bold way, and two, it's a lot of calculations and upgrading and stuff they need to do to the server, stuff like that. So they need time to do it. And instead of like shutting down parts of the world for a period of time, they just said, we'll just shut down the whole world for a few days. We'll get it taken care of. And then once we've gotten everything set, we can come back on and we won't have any disruptions in our game. And I think that's an absolutely brilliant way of doing things, though a lot of people did not know that was going to happen. So they were freaking out that Fortnite has gone the way of the dodo. And now they're happy because Fortnite 2 is here. So yay. Am I going to play it? Hell no. Does my son really want to play it? No, not really. He doesn't. He's more into Roblox and Minecraft. So there's that. A train driver in Bihar, India, stops the train. I can't remember. Stops his train and goes missing for 2 hours as he takes a cold shower. So basically, he's driving the train. There's plenty of people on board trying to get to their location. And also it was really, really hot in India, so he was sweating and dirty. And he just said, you know what, this is done. I can't handle this anymore. He stops the train, doesn't tell anybody what he's doing or when he's going to be back. So the people are still on the train wondering what the hell just happened. He got up and wandered away. They didn't see him do it or whatever. And so they're wondering what's going on. I was like, where'd the driver go? What happened? So they're freaking out. They don't know what's going on. 2 hours later, he comes back and says, oh, yeah, I just want to take a shower. Went home, took a shower, and now I'm back and we'll continue the drive. It's like, that's kind of a rude thing to do, but kind of funny too. So we can go from funny to sad. This is local news, but it's also sort of a big United States piece of news as well. Elijah Cummings, who is a representative, House Representative from Maryland, and is one of the more senior members of the House of Representatives. He was chairing the House Investigation Committee or whatever. He passed away this week. At the age of 68, he'd been fighting a sickness or something like that. So he is friends with John Lewis, who was the civil rights guy who's made a big deal and was really digging deep into investigating the corrupt White House we have right now. So rest in peace, Elijah Cummings. You'll be missed. And Baltimore already misses you. Maryland misses you already. A couple of news stories about the Robert Pattinson Batman broke this week. First up, Jonah Hill was originally cast as the Penguin, but he started bitching and moaning about wanting more money and was complaining about everything. So the director's like, Matt Reeves says, I don't need this. And they said, you're not Penguin anymore. So, and to be honest, I didn't think Jonah Hill would have been a good Penguin anyway. And the fact that you have this attitude about wanting more money and stuff like that, I find ridiculous. So, shoo, go away, and hopefully they'll cast somebody else. Seth Rogen, ironically enough, was another guy that they've been mentioning as well as possibly jumping into the Penguin sweepstakes. I don't know if I'm a fan of that either, because I just can't see him in anything but comedies. And I know I say that about everybody. You say that about Jim Carrey, you say that about Robin Williams, and they come and they surprise you in dramas, but I don't know. So we'll see. On better news, Paul Dano, who I don't really know much about, but I've seen the pictures of him, stuff like that, has been cast as the Riddler, which means there's going to be the Riddler in the new Batman movie, which I've been one of my probably my favorite Batman villain, and to see him finally up on screen properly, because Jim Carrey's version of the Riddler was Joker light, and that's not what the Riddler is. The Riddler believes he's the smart. That's not what the Riddler is. The Riddler believes he's the smartest guy in the room, and he wants to prove it to you by giving you where he's going to strike next, but you have to figure out, get to his level to figure out where he's going to be. And then when Batman does, he now learns that he's got an arch nemesis who's as smart as him, not as smart as him. He's almost as smart as him, because the Riddler still thinks he's the smartest guy, and so gives him a little bit of a challenge, which ups his game as well. And then we also have somewhere around here, somewhere, I forgot, Zoe Kravitz. There it is. Zoe Kravitz has been cast as Wonder Woman, or not Wonder Woman, Catwoman, in the Batman film as well, which is leading me to believe, with the cast of the Penguin, the Riddler, and the Catwoman, that they are probably going to do, as they'd rumored to do, they might be doing a version of The Long Halloween, which, if done properly, could be an outstanding Batman movie, even with all the villains involved with it. But they're all in it for very small periods of time, and that's not the overall gist of the story. So, to be continued. And another bit of rumor, Jason Momoa is interested in playing Wolverine. Now, I think everybody in the world has said they're interested in playing Wolverine. And the only problem I have about that is Jason Momoa is not small. Wolverine needs to be small. But other than that, I think Jason Momoa probably would have been a good Wolverine. I just think he's too big, and we need to have a more size appropriate Wolverine, in my opinion. I think we need to have that. Probably won't, but it would be good. But I mean, Jason Momoa would have been probably a good casting for it if they were going to do something like that. So, to be continued. To prove that there is life after superhero movies, Chris Evans has gone on to do the movie Knives Out, which is going to be opening in November, which I want to see, actually, and has been getting a lot of good buzz on that. And now Robert Downey Jr. has entered the sweepstakes, as I did not know that this film was in development, which is weird. I usually know about this stuff, but I was unaware that he was doing this. But all of a sudden, they dropped a trailer on us with a date of January 17th, and I was like, wow, have they been working on this for a while? And Robert Downey Jr. is going to be the newest actor to portray Dr. Dolittle in the trailer for the movie Dolittle. So if you want to check it out for yourself, go to YouTube, type in Dolittle, Doolittle trailer, and you'll see the Robert Downey Jr. one play it. It looks interesting. It looks like it's a period film. It looks like it's going to be a period film. Robert Downey Jr. does an accent, and there's CGI animals, obviously, so it's not going to be like the Ed Murphy versions, which actually weren't too bad. They were actually pretty good. I enjoyed them. And I think, honestly, I think they're better than the Nutty Professor remakes he did. I thought the Dr. Dolittle ones were a lot better than the Nutty Professor ones he did. That's just my opinion, though. So now we have Robert Downey Jr. ones. And to be honest, I saw the trailer and I was like, you know what? I think I kind of want to see it. So I'm going to go see it when it comes out in January. So there's that. This sounds delicious, and I want to go get it as soon as I can find it. Lay's, which is always good, the potato chip company, which is always good about creating all these new kinds of weird, bizarre flavors just to try something different, has now created probably, which very well could be, the absolute perfect potato chip flavor. It is grilled cheese and tomato soup. And I want to try this badly, because nothing is as great during the winter as grilled cheese and tomato soup after watching the snowfall or being out in the cold or whatever, and just having that, just the melty cheese and the crunchy bread and the tomatoey soup, just delicious. The warmth that fills you up, it's fantastic. And I want to, hopefully, you know, hopefully they got the taste down right. A cheesy tomato sort of flavor. I mean, they've done some tomato flavors before, like fried green tomatoes. They have one of those. They did a chip of that as well, and they've done some cheesy flavors, obviously. So melding the two in a proper way probably would be pretty good. So definitely going to be on the lookout for that. Once I find them and try them, I will give you a review of them. Speaking of which, I gave a review last week that Coca-Cola cinnamon was fantastic. So I went out, I bought a 12-pack this weekend. I had my first one today. It's still just as good. So well worth it. And the cinnamon flavor is just, it's not too strong, but it's there. And you can say this is definitely not just regular Coke. And it didn't have this version. The regular cans did not have sort of flat sort of version of the flat soda that I described in my review last week. This tasted like regular soda with a little stronger cinnamon flavor, but not as strong as that god awful Pepsi concoction they released last year. So this is a big week. Next couple weeks anyway is going to be big for Pokemon Go players. I'm a Pokemon Go player. I've been a Pokemon Go player since they started it, 3 years ago. And my wife is even bigger than I am, believe it or not, when it comes to that stuff. In fact, I was upstairs with the kids, reading them stories and getting them ready for their shower stuff while she was up catching us Darkrai, which is the newest Tier 5 raid boss, who is a Dark type in time for Halloween, because the best Pokemon Go event of the year is happening right this second. It started on Thursday, the 17th, and is going to go through November 1st. It is the Halloween event, and the reason why it is the best is for a couple of reasons. One, it was the first ever event they did in Pokemon Go, because Pokemon Go came out in July, and then October was the first big event. So from July to October was just the whole, hey, we're doing this, we're going out there, we're doing things, and they were just doing stuff. And then they said, okay, let's try something different. Halloween's coming up. Boom. It was the first big event they did since, July. It came out after 4th of July. Couldn't do anything. August, there's nothing going on. September, there's really nothing going on. So October made the perfect sense. Second, it's one of the things about it is that the ghost types are out more often, and ghost types are my absolute favorite Pokemon, and I will catch every single one of them. If I ran a gym, it would be a ghost type gym, because I just something about the ghosts. I just love the ghosts. There's not a lot of them in the game, but they're out there a lot now. So and everybody has trick or treating and candy and stuff like that. The Pokemon candies are doubled for catch, transfer, and egg hatching. So you get a lot of candies when you do stuff, which you need candies to evolve your Pokemon. So you want to get as many candies as you can. And then so you throw some pinap berries on when you're catching them, and you get more candies out of that. So that's also great. And then finally, the other thing that's really great about it, and I'm going to play you a snippet of this, is in the Pokemon mythos, there is a town called Lavender Town, which there is a urban legend, which I will talk to you after I play this little bit from the Pokemon Go game, about Lavender Town. And it's the town in the Pokemon games that has like ghost types in it the most. So each town has like its own sort of theme song, and the Lavender Town theme song is one of the creepiest ones you're going to hear. And Pokemon Go decided that, and they did this for the first Halloween event as well, that when you they play music, you can turn the music off if you don't listen to music while you're Pokemon Go hunting, but they do have music on all the time when you're Pokemon Go hunting if you want to. And they have a specific daytime music and a nighttime music. Now, during the Halloween event, they get rid of the nighttime music and play the Lavender Town theme. So this is a bit more upbeat version of it. If you listen to the actual game on like the handheld devices, it's a lot more creepy. There's a ghost type in the house, so I'm going to try to catch it. This is a ghost type. It's Ghastly. So I'll go catch him because he's my boy. And we're in the middle of an event also. I mean, so we have the event going on, but we also have special research where we have to do a bunch of things in order to get access to a Pokemon you can't get any other time of the year except now, Spiritomb. I got one last year. And so in order to get this one this year, I have to catch 108 Pokemon. And I'm only on number 43 right now. So I got a ways to go. Oh. So this is the music that plays at night now, and it'll shift off during the day. So this is the Lavender Town theme. Now, what's interesting about that is that it is creepy, but as I said, if you listen to it on the actual the video game and stuff like that, it's a bit tinnier and a bit higher and a bit more creepy. They don't want to make it too creepy because the urban legend that's out there now is that there were a bunch of kids who heard this song, and the way that the music notes get in there, it sort of messed with their heads a little bit, and a bunch of kids apparently committed suicide after listening to it. I don't believe in it a second. It's an urban legend. But the fact is, they took it serious enough that they changed it for the Pokemon Go game, and that was a little snippet I got for you. Now, that's not all that's going on. After the Halloween event, literally the next day, November 2nd, which is a Saturday, they are doing the Regigigas event, which is something they haven't done before. Now, Regigigas is one of the big stone golem type things that we've already had. Reggie Ice, and there's a couple others I can't think of them right now, but Regigigas is the last of these, and the Pokemon is doing something different that they haven't done before, which is for November 2nd, that Saturday, from like 11 to 7 p.m., they're going to have special research available to try to catch Regigigas. Now, instead of it being like the Spiritomb one where they're just going to automatically say, upload it to your game and say, here you go, you do this stuff, you will have to pay $7.99, not in Pokecoins, but in actual currency, credit card, Google Play, gift card, iTunes gift card, whatever. You have to pay to buy a ticket to the Regigigas event. If you pay the $7.99, it will open up the research for you, and then you can take your time and do the research. And the final end game of the research is you get a chance to take on Regigigas. Now, what's going to happen is, if you decide you don't want to spend the $7.99 to do this research and get this early attack on Regigigas, you're just going to have to wait for the EX raids, which are special raids that you can only get by going to EX gyms. Now, we have one over there where we have a EX raid tomorrow. Dawn and I do, which has Mewtwo, who's the current EX raid boss. There's also one down that way, down at Hannah Moore as well. So you have to do a raid at those, and then you have to have enough people do raids there that they open up an EX raid. And in this case, it's Mewtwo now, but Regigigas is going to start in November. So if you don't want to pay the $7.99 to get access to Regigigas early and not have to get an EX thing and just want to catch them by your own, you can pay the $7.99 and do the research and you'll get it. In this case, if you don't want to do that, you have to wait for the EX raid to happen. So that's some interesting stuff going on in the world of Pokemon. So if you haven't played in a while, I recommend definitely this next 12 days, actually technically 13 since it goes through November 1st, get back in the game because the ghost types are everywhere, double candies, it'll help you evolve quicker, and all kinds. And the Gen 5s are still getting released periodically, and you'll still see a bunch of them. So good on that. So go for it. Life on Mars was found in 1970s, and we ignored it. Now, it's not like, oh my God, gray aliens walking around or whatever. No, it was, they discovered microbes in the dirt of the Mars. Now, this is someone saying that. We don't know if this is the truth or not because it hasn't been mentioned until recently. But this is 1970s, so they didn't really know what they were looking for. They just wanted to get to Mars, remember, because that was when Viking was the first landers to land on Mars. And there was no rolling, so like that. It was just a thing that landed on the ground. They just stayed there, and they discovered these microbes or whatever on the surface, and they didn't think much about them, so they killed them. Basically, I mean, I don't think intentionally, but they just sort of like all the stuff they've just been doing. It just with their lander just did stuff like that. So that's kind of interesting. Scientists create Vanta Black, which is the darkest color in the galaxy, this side of a black hole. It is a really dark color, and they had a view of it. It's a lot darker than your typical black. It is a really deep, 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 deep black. So interesting. This weekend, the new Watchmen series comes on HBO. I've never really been a big fan of Watchmen. I mean, I understand why it's considered to be one of the greatest pieces of comic book literature. And the movie that Zack Snyder made in the early 2000s was amazing on its own, because no one ever thought they could make a Watchmen movie, but he actually did a pretty good job of it. Well, now Damon Lindelof, he of the Lost and Star Trek and a bunch of other things as well, has made his own Watchmen TV show. But it is not an adaptation of the Watchmen series. And instead, it is a what happens after the cartoons, the comic series, and the movie in the same world. So you're having adventures and stuff like that, and stories set in the world of the Watchmen after what happened at the end of Watchmen. So still not a big interest of me. But the funny thing is, Damon Lindelof, who is the showrunner of Watchmen, has been claiming in interviews that he believes Alan Moore has planted a curse on him, because Alan Moore is a notorious crazy old man who hates anything about people trying to adapt his work, and complains wholeheartedly about it to anyone who would listen. And everyone treats him like he's a god because he's Alan Moore. And to be honest, his stuff is good, but at the same time, it's also, upon reflection, when you're reading it when you're younger, it's cool. But when you read it again when you're older, you're sort of like, this is kind of garbage, kind of a little bit. So we'll see. This is kind of an interesting small world sort of thing. I think I mentioned this a while back, and maybe I didn't. There is a guy named Larry Benishevitz, and he's a local guy. And his brother, Tony, dated my mother in college before she had met my dad. And my dad knew of them as well, because they all went to the same school. Now, I think Larry and Tony are twins. And my mom called me a few months ago. I mean, she calls me all the time, but this particular story, she talked to me a few months ago about how Tony had called her and said that Larry had cancer and was dying. And, they have a get together like every Wednesday at this old place they used to all hang out. So, could you maybe come and maybe say goodbye, because he doesn't really have a lot of time left. So my mom went and saw Larry and Tony and hung out with some of her old friends from college, and talked to them a little bit, and, said her goodbyes and moved on. Well, she found out last week that he passed away from his cancer. Now, apparently he was a teacher, or a big guy, a guy who was a good citizen of Glen Burnie, which is a town around the Glen Burnie, Pasadena area. And I know this because when I was looking through my Facebook feed this morning, my boss from work, who lives in the Glen Burnie, Pasadena area, posted Larry's obituary. And I was like, that's kind of weird. And then when I actually read it and saw that he had an important role in that area, and then I commented on it, and my boss responded back, it's like, yeah, he was a great guy, and telling him that his brother dated my mom. It's like, yeah, he was a good guy and good citizen of the area. And then a lot of other people from that area have been commenting on it. Now, another interesting aspect about Larry, besides the fact that my boss knew him also, and that his brother dated my mom, another interesting aspect about Larry was a music consultant for Barry Levinson movies that were filmed in Maryland and John Waters movies. He was a musical consultant. So they would come to him because he had an extensive record collection. I mean, huge record collection, outrageously huge. One of the biggest in the world, probably. And a lot of stuff, it's a lot of songs that you've probably never heard of before, or obscure songs from artists you knew but never knew they had these types of things. He has them and he likes them. So both Levinson and Waters used him for their movies. Now, the biggest things I remember from both of those movies, I mean, he's probably done it for a bunch of their other Baltimore movies. Like Levinson's only done 4 Baltimore movies. It was Diner, Tin Men, Avalon, and Liberty Heights. And he probably helped, do the ancillary music of like the time, of that to set the tone of what the time was like that. Well, one of the characters in Diner is played by Daniel Stern, who was one of the burglars in the Home Alone series. And his character is a huge record buff. So there's a scene where he's having an argument with his wife, played by Ellen Barkin, and they're arguing about his record collection. And that record collection was Larry's. So Larry said, you can go ahead and use my record collection for this character, because that's what the character is based on. He's not on Larry, but has a huge record collection. So, Larry said, go ahead and use mine. It's fine. So you don't have to, make fake ones, or you can make it look like that this guy, actually is a record buff and stuff like that. So that was kind of neat. And then the other thing was, if you've ever seen the original Hairspray, not the musical version that they did, but if you've seen the original, which is by far my favorite version of it, there's lots of old time music in that the kids dance to. That was all Larry also. John came to him and said, Larry, I need some ideas for songs kids can dance to during the 1960s. And so and then Larry's like, okay, do this, try this. And then he played a bunch, and John chose which ones he liked. And that was it. And so obviously he probably was used in Cry Baby as well. And if you look in the credits, you'll see music consultant Larry Benishevitz. So he's had his name in the credits of these big time movies as well. So rest in peace, Larry. It's a small world. And it blew my mind that my boss knew who he was and actually liked him. And I was just like, that's kind of cool. So cheers to you, and to you, Elijah Cummings. Bill Macy also passed away this week. He was a character actor who did a bunch of shows, popular sitcoms in the 80s and 70s and stuff like that. I forget his claim to fame, though, but he was in a bunch of movies as well. See if I can find it here. I might have to just come back to it when I get to these pages. I had a lot to get through. Oh, there he is. Bill Macy died, so I did not cover that as well. Boom. So I don't need to talk about that one. All right, so here we are, roughly about maybe 38 minutes into the show, and we're going to enter In Dreams. I haven't done In Dreams in a while, but I just had to talk to you about these 2 dreams I had last night. The first one was my mother lived in what looked to me now in retrospect like a Hobbit type of home, like from the Lord of the Rings movies, but it was wider like our house is. Our house goes from back there to all the way that way to the front. So we've got a big wide area, and it goes top to bottom all the way to the top and stuff like that. So her house was like that, but it had that look of a lived in hobbity type of house. And she always seemed to have visitors, like just random people, parents with their kids and neighbors, and just all people just sort of hanging around in her house and I don't know, doing whatever. So this dream, I went to visit her, as you do, it's my mom. And there were a group of politicians who were in the house, including one former president, George W. Bush. And so I'm just sort of walking around, stuff like that. And I walk by the politician groups, and George W. Bush is doing a line of coke. And I'm shocked by that. So I call him out on it. And he says he didn't do it. And all the politicians said that he didn't do it either. But I saw him do it. Now, this is weird in a few things, because I don't know why I would be thinking about George W. Bush doing coke. Now, I know that there are rumors that he did do coke during his wilder times before he settled down and became the politician that he is. But I don't know why. I hadn't read anything about it. I hadn't even read a single thing about George W. Bush in the last week or month or whatever. So I don't even know why that came up. Now I understand maybe why the group of politicians said, no, you didn't see that because that's what's going on in our world right now. But the fact is, I don't understand why I was dreaming about him doing a line of coke. So that was just kind of weird. And then it gets weirder. I've been doing this show for what now? 6 years, 5 years, and I'm in my 6th year now. And or is it my 6th? No, I've done it for a full 5 years. I think 5 times 52. No, five. No, I've done it for a full 6 years. I'm in my 7th year now, working on my 7th year. I've done this for 6 years, and and I'm working on my 7th one. Early on in my career, I used to do shows with other people. Now, I've sort of gotten away from that over the last few months because they've changed the way to do stuff on YouTube now, and I can't actually invite anybody to join me on webcam. This is just me being me by myself. So I can't invite anybody to come on the show and go back and forth like we used to do. So I can't do that. And then secondly, there was a lot of stuff happening to my co-stars over the last year or so where they wouldn't have been able to do it anyway, or they were unable to do it. And I always had a set time when I wanted to do the show. And if they couldn't do it, I didn't want to just say, well, I'm not going to do a show this week. So I had to figure out something to do. So eventually I just said, I think I'll just change my show to where I'm just talking about the weird news of the week. But before all that happened, this is way, way back now. One of my people I work with was Bronwyn. And you all remember her. We did Dylan Knows International because she lived in Canada. And her and her longtime boyfriend, Steve, got married a couple years ago. And Steve moved from America to Canada. Now I think has become a Canadian citizen, I believe. I'm not sure about that, though. But regardless, they've been married for a couple years now. But for some reason, last night, I dreamt that they invited me to their wedding, but not their reception. And their place where they lived was sort of like a compartmentalized apartment hotel sort of combo thing. And it seemed kind of modern. It was weird and dark and stuff like that. And there was one guy I recognized who was at the wedding, who I thought I knew sometime, and I waved and said hi to them, and they ignored me. I don't know. It was a blonde-haired guy. I don't know who that is. Then it got even weirder. Then we learned that Steven Spielberg was a special guest that they invited to their wedding, and he was there, and people were talking to him. We were eating turkey, and then there were people from my work running around outside playing. So that was all kind of a weird one also. Again, I don't know why I was thinking this. Maybe the work stuff I can understand because I worked yesterday. But I understand why about Bronwyn and Steve because I haven't seen them in a while. And I follow them on Facebook and Twitter, but I don't think I'd read anything of theirs recently. And I don't know. They've been married for at least a year, maybe longer. So I don't know why I was dreaming it that way. But those are the two weird in dreams that I had just last night. So I don't know what that was all about. So 43 minutes in, and I'm only on page 2 of 3.5. So let's get a little bit of a move on, shall we? Batman 80th anniversary Converse shoes are now on sale. We always reveal that whenever there is a new type of shoe out there, it's always fun to mention those. I've never actually seen any of these shoes anywhere on sale, though Batman Converse might be actually pretty cool. The Harry Potter ones that I talked about before might be cool also. So who knows? Pigment, speaking of Harry Potter, Pigment of Potter pencils is a thing now. So you can get colored pencils that come in pigments of Harry Potter characters and locations and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, that's good for that. There is a viral video going around now of a Japanese teenager who's holding up a sign that says "Dance for Donuts." He's got a dozen donuts, and so people come and they're doing some dancing for him, and they're being filmed. And he usually goes and dances with them, or sometimes he's amazed. Like this one guy did this total standing flip in the air and landed face back. So he obviously, once they do a little dance, he gives them a donut. There was a little girl doing some of the Fortnite dancing, and then there were other girls who were doing crazy dance stuff like that. And he would dance with them and do all kinds of stuff like that. So that's kind of a fun little thing to see that is opening up how life can be fun and good. And he was giving out the donuts. So, like as he said, he's like, "You dance for me? Here you go. There's a donut for you." So that's kind of cool as well. A couple was stopped by airport security after accidentally packing their pet cat into their luggage. That really doesn't make sense. How do you accidentally pack your cat unless they didn't pack it and the cat crawled into the luggage and they didn't see him, which would have been weird because you're closing the luggage on him and then you're lifting him up that way and he would fall down and would probably start yowling and scratching at stuff. And it just seems rather odd how all that could have happened. So I don't know. A Paris zoo unveils the blob, an organism with no brain but has 720 sexes. It's a weird creation. I don't know why you would create something like that, but it is rather odd. Speaking of cats, people were complaining that a cat was walking around this attorney's offices. It's not the attorneys. They were fine with a cat being there, but the people who were coming in, they didn't want to have a cat walking around, I guess, in their lawyer's office. But the lawyers didn't care because they liked the cat. So what did they do instead? They made the cat an honorary attorney so that he became a partner, and so he belongs there now, and nobody can say a darn thing about that. Dozens of birds have died after flying into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. Now, we've known all about the horrors of if you have a all-glass building. Birds aren't very smart, and they're going to fly into the glass buildings all the time because they think that they're flying into the sky. They don't think they're flying to a building because all glass buildings reflect the sky around them. So it looks like to the bird's viewpoint that they're flying into the sky still, that it's just normal sky. And then they go, bam, and they fall down and they die, usually because they're hitting it really hard. And in this case, hundreds of birds are hitting this NASCAR Hall of Fame, which is one big glass cube. So I don't know what they're going to do to try to fix that, but it could be an issue. Clueless is being rebooted as a dramatic mystery series, which really sounds like a dumb idea. So it seems like they're trying for a what is that? Veronica Mars sort of feel to things, but instead they're adding the Clueless name to it, and it doesn't make any sense why they would be doing something like that. Photographer documents the friendship between a gray wolf and a bear. So he's taken numerous pictures of this gray wolf and bear who appear to be the very best of friends. So he's documented different periods of their relationship while he's photographing them. Obviously, I guess he knows where they are. He tracks them. He's probably a usual nature photographer, knows where they are and stuff like that. So it's good on that. Some good archaeological stuff happened this week, particularly today. The ancient lost city of the Khmer Empire was uncovered in Cambodia. It's one of these, lost cities that are in the history books. We know they exist at one time, but we never have found where they are. And when you find them, it's always a big deal in the archaeological world because now you've got an opportunity to see how life was during that time, and the legendary lost city might have all kinds of new archaeological discoveries and give you some more insight into that period of time in Cambodian history. And then there's another one. Let's see if I can find it around here. Anyway, if I can't find it, I'll just when I get to it again, when we do get here. There have been about 20. There we go. Egypt archaeologists find 20 ancient coffins. So 20 new coffins have been uncovered by Egyptian archaeologists. They're, again, historical significance. We'll find out who's buried in them. We'll find out the history of stuff that's going on in Egypt at that time of these burials, and we'll see what happens with that. So good archaeological week this week. Aldi's, the boutique sort of grocery store that's been around, they have a sweet bloody red Halloween wine. Now, they're not going to have one here in Maryland because you're not allowed to sell alcohol in grocery stores. But if you are in one of the probably 49 other states where you're allowed to sell alcohol in grocery stores, go to your local Aldi's, pick up the sweet Halloween bloody red wine. Sounds delicious, actually. So wish we had it here. In Texas, an ocelot den has been discovered for the first time in 2 decades. So in 20 years, no one has ever discovered an ocelot nest until now, which is a good sign. It means the ocelots are making a comeback a little bit in the wild. So that's pretty good. And it's in Texas, so good. Good on Texas for that. And hopefully things will be continuing good for them. New species of shark-toothed raptor was discovered in Thailand. It's always interesting to see new discoveries of dinosaurs popping up all the time. And this one is a shark-toothed raptor. Raptors are vicious sons of bitches, but ones that have shark teeth are probably even worse than your typical ones you're used to. First all-woman spacewalk in history occurred today. So it was supposed to happen, I think, a couple weeks ago, but there was some issue with the spacesuits. So they created new special spacesuits for these women, and they were able to do the first ever 2-woman female spacewalk in history. So congratulations on that. History is being made. It's fantastic. Studies show that fighting with your sibling will make you a better person. My sister and I used to fight a lot, and now we don't really fight all that much. Obviously I don't talk to her all that as much as I probably should. And my wife actually luckily saw her today, because she was at a baby shower for my cousin Kelly. We'll see her probably, holiday season's coming up. We'll probably see her sometime in the next couple months. And then her 50th birthday is coming up in March of next year. I think I might try to make my way down there to see her, but the timing is rough because of scouts and other things going on. So we'll see what's going on then. A sheepdog retires after protecting penguins for 8 years. So he was protecting penguins for 8 years, doing a good job because he's a good boy. And he decided that he was getting too old, couldn't handle it anymore. So he retired, and he's off to live in the wonderful world of doggy retirement. So congratulations to you. And it's good to have these nice animal stories all the time. Samuel Adams has created an extreme brew which contains ninja yeast, which is illegal in 15 states, mostly southern and Midwest states. But it is an expensive, highly alcoholic beer. I think they said it's a 28% alcohol, which is, for a beer, is insane. But it's actually so that you can buy it now in stores or online or something like that. And you can also get it at one bar. There was a story also about this, that one bar has it on tap until it runs out, obviously. So probably expensive. Don't know what it tastes like or what ninja yeast does or whatever, but still kind of a neat story. Pecan pie vending machine. If you love yourself a pecan pie and one day you just have the urge to have one at your desk at work and you happen to luck out and say, oh my gosh, they have a pecan pie vending machine that has a full pecan pie available for you to buy for, I don't know how much, maybe $3, $5, whatever. You slide those in there and get your pecan pie. So I'm not a big pecan pie fan, but hey, if you are, there you go, man. Enjoy. Back in 2012, now we're going the way back machine, 7 years ago, The Avengers was about to come out on, I think, May 5th or May 4th or something, like maybe May 4th. And to celebrate the premiere of the Avengers movie, this is the very beginning of the Marvel Universe, MCU. So it had only been going on for about 4 or 5 years at that point. To celebrate the arrival of the Avengers, which is going to connect all the heroes who've had all their movies already, movie theater chains were going to do marathons. And I think that might have been the first. No, The Lord of the Rings was the first one. I remember them doing that. But they were doing marathons where they showed every MCU movie leading to the Avengers. So it was Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America. So they showed 5 movies in a row and then premiered the Avengers at 12 o'clock because they timed it out so that the movies would all end and would lead into the Avengers for a premiere at 12 o'clock. So I took that day off work and I did that event at White Marsh. And it started at 11 a.m. and went all the way till about 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, there were breaks in between, and you had a lanyard, so you would just put a coat on your seat so no one would take your seat. You could get up, you could stretch your legs, you could go get food from the concession stand, or if you wanted to go for a walk, it was at the White Marsh Main Street area. There's a Barnes Noble, stuff like that. So I took a walk, went to that. You could have gone to another restaurant, you could have gone shopping, you could have just walked around, gone to your car, done whatever you wanted to, because not all the movies were done bang, 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 because you want to be able to do that. So they said Iron Man came on at 11 o'clock and it was done by, let's say, 1 o'clock. So then they gave you like a 15 to 20-minute break. So you go to the bathroom, get something to eat, rest, or you just sit there and wait or whatever, chit chat, whatever. And the next movie would come on. Then they break. The next movie, break, next movie, break, and so on and so forth. I did that. They also did one of these marathons for the Lord of the Rings, which I think was the first one I remember, where they showed the Fellowship of the Ring and the Two Towers, leading to the premiere of the Return of the King. So you could watch the whole movie as a book, because Lord of the Rings is supposed to be one story that was divided into 3 books. So they wanted you to see it as, Tolkien maybe wanted you to read it. So they did that. Then this past year with Endgame, there were certain theaters that were running a 2-day event showing every single MCU movie leading to Endgame's arrival in order too. So there was that one also. That one might have been a little crazy because that would have been like 2.5 days in a movie theater, and that might have been a little bit harder to do. Well, this one is going to be a little interesting too. This is the newest marathon that was announced by AMC. As we all know, mid-December sees the last of the Skywalker Star Wars movies coming out. In the new Rise of the Skywalker, the 9th Star Wars movie in the trilogy. The new trailer for this, the final trailer for this film, is actually coming out on Monday during ESPN's Monday Night Football. Now, you don't have to watch Monday Night Football to catch it, because eventually, as soon as it airs on Monday Night Football, I'm sure every single website will have it and they will air it, so you can wait. If you want to wait till after it premieres, about 5 minutes after it premieres, you'll see it online all the time. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, so we'll see. But the Rise of Skywalker will be coming out on mid-December. So AMC decided they're going to do a 27-hour marathon. Now that's even a little bit, that's even harder, because now you're looking at 9 movies instead of the 5 that I was watched for the Avengers thing. And it is going to be in order, all the trilogy. So it's the prequels, 1, 2, and 3, then 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8, 9. So you're going to have Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith, A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, leading to the premiere of The Rise of Skywalker. So you're going to see all 9 Star Wars movies. And that almost might be a good one to do, except that you have to watch the prequels. Now, I think Phantom Menace is underrated. I think Attack of the Clones is absolutely horrendous, and Revenge of the Sith is okay. But I like pretty much all the other ones, so we got all that going on. So you Star Wars fans out there, go ahead and think about doing that if you want. All right, what's next? Kellogg's has joined up with a gay rights group to create an all-together cereal. And actually, everyone's freaking out about this, and actually sounds pretty good because haven't you ever had like multiple cereal boxes in your cupboard or whatever, all of them having very little cereal, and you not enough for a bowl, so you just throw them all together into one bowl and just eat everything like that? I have, and it's good. Well, they're doing something similar to this. Instead of it just being a bunch of different ones, they're putting a bunch of different cereals all together in one box. So you'll be able to get Corn Flakes, Fruit Loops, Frosted Flakes, Frosted Mini Wheats, Raisin Bran, and Rice Krispies all together in one box. That actually doesn't sound awful. It actually sounds pretty good. And I don't know why people are yelling and screaming about it. So I might actually have to see if I can find this one. And all proceeds are going to go to help gay rights, which is a bonus, as a plus on that. So I might have to figure that out. Corn Flakes and Frosted Flakes are basically the same, except Corn Flakes aren't frosted. They're just regular flakes, and you have Frosted Flakes there. Fruit Loops will give that little extra sweetness you need to it. The Rice Krispies are small, crackly little things you can slurp down as well. Frosted Mini Wheats are a little bit more chunky and more weedy, but you still have it there. And then Raisin Bran is fantastic as well. So wonderful. So we'll see what happens with that. There's another viral video out there now showing a teacher who is showing is teaching a unique way to have kids learn how to wipe their butts properly after they take a poop. Basically, the teacher has two balloons to pretend to be her butt that are spaced, like a butt, so that there's a crack in between. And she has all the kids sitting on two balloons also, and says, "This is how you wipe properly," and uses, the balloons and the crack between the balloons to show how to do it. So I think that's a really good idea, and could always use help when it comes to that to learn how to wipe better. People are stupid. Instagram enthusiast. She is and we've heard a story about these too, that these people, their parents like work 3 jobs so that they can send these Instagram people to all these faraway places, and all they do is take pictures and post them on Instagram, and they have millions of viewers, and they all get likes and stuff like that for their Instagram. Well, a similar couple, an Instagram enthusiast group, gave a bad Yelp review to a restaurant that would not accept likes as payment. So basically, they went to this really nice restaurant. They ordered some food from the restaurant. And then when the bill came, they're like, "Tell you what, I'm not going to pay you any money. But what I'll do is I will, since I'm an Instagram superstar, celebrity, I will tell how great of a job this restaurant is, and I will do a 5-star Yelp review, and it'll be, I'll talk about how great the restaurant was, how great the food is, how great the atmosphere is, how great you all are, and that'll help you'll get all these likes, and then you'll get more people to come into the restaurant, and your restaurant becomes successful." And then the restaurant said, "No, you owe us money. That's how it works." They bitched and moaned, and I guess they paid, and then they went to Yelp, which is the restaurant review place, and gave it a scathing review telling about how terrible it is. Entitled assholes. Piss me off. This is actually an interesting story. Man pranks mourners at an Irish funeral. Basically, this guy dies. He's in a coffin. They've gone through the mourning process, and they're getting ready to put his coffin in the ground. They're having the funeral. So the families around there, they're all sad, saying goodbye to their loved one or whatever. And as they start to lower the coffin into the ground, all of a sudden they start hearing a voice saying, "Hello? Help me. I'm trapped in here. Can you get me out of here? What's going on? I just woke up." And turns out that the guy who was being buried, actually, before he died, I guess he knew he was going to die. It must have been a disease or something that was going to kill him. Terminal disease was going to kill him. So before he died, he recorded his voice saying all this stuff, and then planted it in, or had someone plant it in his coffin, and had it start that as soon as it started to lower, it would start talking. And so the people would think maybe that the person was being buried alive. They knew more. I don't think anybody really freaked out. They weren't sure because they were 100% certain that he died. And so then they started realizing what he'd done and they started laughing. So it made the funeral, instead of being a morose, sad thing, turn into sort of a comedic, fun, goofy sort of thing. So you gotta love. I think he was Irish. You gotta love the Irish about that. Fantastic. An Iowa family's basement. This is a good Halloween story for you. An Iowa family's basement floods with 5 inches of animal blood. Now, when you first read the story, you're like, what the hell is that? Because you expect, okay, they might flood with rainwater from a heavy rainstorm or whatever, but blood? Animal blood? How does that even happen? 5 inches of animal blood in the basement of your house? Well, it turns out they actually live next door to a slaughterhouse. And they've lived there for a long time, and they've never had an issue until now. So it wasn't that big of a surprise to them. But the fact is, how would you like to come walking down your basement? I'm in my basement right now. How would it feel if I walked down here and there was just blood everywhere? First of all, the smell would be disgusting. But secondly, it's disgusting. So, good creepy little Halloween story for you. A Florida man. We're going to get into a little, it's after 11, so that's good. We can get into sort of this more blue sexual sort of stuff. It's a couple of sexy stories here. Florida man, he is a teacher, decides that he's going to take meth and cocaine before he goes to teach his class. I don't know why. He just is. And he passes out in Burger King where he went for his lunch. And then when he got arrested, when he was sent to the hospital because they thought I guess he passed out. They thought maybe he had overdosed or something like that. When he woke up in the hospital, he jerked himself off. Masturbated, if you don't know what jerking off is. Man, what is up with Florida? That's crazy. And another sex story. This one's from Missouri, though. A Missouri woman who sat on her boyfriend's face and yelled, "Eat my pussy," was arrested for domestic violence. I'm going to say a little something. I've never had my face sat on before. I wish I had, because it's something that I'm interested in, but it never happened, and it's too late now anyway. I don't understand how you could consider that domestic violence. I mean, I guess knowing what happens, I guess maybe, and I guess the way she screamed it because she was in the throes of ecstasy, I guess maybe I can understand where that's coming from, but in the end, I really can't. We are drinking less beer, but we're spending more money on it and caring more about the beer we drink. So, we're not drinking as much beer, but the beer we are drinking are these boutique IPA sort of things that we want to make sure that are fancy dancy and are spending more money on it because they're better than your Coors or Bud swill that you usually drink. I mean, I guess if you or Sam Adams, you go crazy with your Ninja yeast, I guess you need to do something like that. So I guess there's proof to that as well. More Halloween stuff. Target or Amazon or someone is selling zombie popsicle makers. Those molds that, you can make design stuff out of. Well, now you can do that with zombie popsicles. So you fill it with your whatever juice you want to use to make your fruit-flavored pops, and you put it in the freezer. It'll freeze it, and you'll get pops in the shapes of zombies. So that's pretty neat for the Halloween there. Also, Krispy Kreme is going to be selling monster donuts. They're actually kind of cool. They're different colors with eyeballs and stuff like that on it. They might be pretty neat to check out sometime. So if you're in the vicinity of a Krispy Kreme, go ahead and check out the monster donuts there, and see if your Krispy Kreme is selling them. They look really good, and they could be probably really interesting, and it's perfect for a Halloween treat. And finally, Stephen King's home is going to become a writer's retreat and museum. I guess it's either his old home, probably not the one he's living in now, because you don't want to have people come into your home while you're trying to live there and doing a writer's retreat museum. So I guess it must be his old home, where he wrote a lot of his novels, and people can come in and get a taste of the vibes, have writing retreats and museums of the history of Stephen King writing his stuff. Like, here's the typewriter that he used to write Carrie or something like that. So we'll probably come back to Halloween. Yes, we have one more Halloween. Yes. No. Yes. No. Yes. Can't find anything right now, so we'll get there again. Oh yeah, here we go. Sexy librarian. You have that, porn thing, or just, librarians with glasses, and there are sexy librarians out there, is now a actual costume for Halloween. So if you want to be a sexy librarian for Halloween, you can now become a sexy librarian for Halloween. So there we go. I'm sure there's other Halloween stuff I can't read right now, but let's just move on to some other stuff. Snoop Dogg has a full-time blunt maker on staff, pays them between $40,000 and $50,000 a year. I'd love that job, man. Just sit there all day making blunts, man, for $40,000 to $50,000 a year rather. I'd do it. Woman finds 2 venomous pythons in her toilet 2 days in a row. So one day she goes in the toilet, she sees a venomous python, calls people to come get it out. They get it out of her toilet. All is right with the world. The next day, she goes in the bathroom again, and oh my God, there's another one. How does that happen? 2 in 2 days. Absolutely insane. So weird stories. Oh, here's another Halloween one I just saw. Speaking of other costumes, remember the episode of Friends where they were talking about all their Thanksgiving memories, and Chandler revealed one of his worst Thanksgivings, which was due to something Monica did before they really knew each other. And to prove her apology for it, she stuffed her head inside a turkey, a full-size turkey, and did a little dance, stuff like that. Well, now you can buy that turkey head thing mask for Halloween and be Monica with the turkey on it. So, okay. Christmas. Sunflower Christmas trees are a thing, so you can have a Christmas tree with sunflowers on it. Or Amazon is also selling cactus Christmas trees. If you want to have a Christmas tree that is a cactus, well, there you go. Or if you want one that has sunflowers in it, you can get those as well. And I think I did one last week as well. I can't think of what it was, but there was probably another one I talked about last week. So there you go. Mosquitoes with the St. Louis encephalitis virus was found in Anaheim, California, and Bakersfield, California, for the first time since 1987. So these viruses are starting to make a comeback. You could say anything from anti-vaxxers to climate change, whatever, but it's something that's actually happening right now. Neil Patrick Harris, Jessica Henich, and Jada Pinkett Smith are all in talks to join Matrix 4. So Matrix 4 is becoming an actual thing, directed by the Wachowskis again. And Keanu's coming back as well. And now we're getting some more casting news. So it's a thing that's going to actually happen. Guy quits his job and sells everything he owns so he can travel with his cat. I guess that's kind of cool, You just want to travel the world, and I guess you sell everything you own and you quit. You somehow have savings, whatever, and you can take these trips with your cat cross country or to other countries as well and explore. I mean, that's kind of cool, right? And who knows, maybe they can take some pictures, publish some books, and make some money that way too. I don't know. Starbucks is going crazy. They got all kinds of stuff coming out. We all know about their Excuse me, pumpkin spice lattes. But how about a pumpkin birthday cake latte? Birthday cake flavor has become sort of a big thing recently. So now Starbucks decided to mix up their pumpkin and with a birthday cake flavor, and now you can get a pumpkin birthday cake latte. They also have a Nightmare Before Christmas, or a couple of Nightmare Before Christmas Frappuccinos you can get from Starbucks as well. Now, I'm not sure if that's only available at Disney or if you can actually get it anywhere right now, because I haven't really set foot in a Starbucks in a long time, so I couldn't tell you if they have this stuff or not. I think I talked about this a few weeks ago. There was a study that came out that said sci-fi, TV, movies, books actually will make you stupid. Well, now another study has come out that has refuted exactly what that said. That said sci-fi does not, reading, watching, or whatever, experiencing sci-fi will not make you stupid. So, take that, studies. They should do other studies to refute other ones that we've talked about before too. Oreo chocolate cookie house kits. So Christmas is coming. Gingerbread houses are a thing. This time, though, you can get an Oreo chocolate cookie house kit and create not a gingerbread cookie house, but an Oreo chocolate cookie house. So that's pretty cool too. A grandpa brings his dog to a furniture store to go buy a new chair, and he brings the dog along to see if the dog will like the chair as well. So that's kind of adorable and cute, and hopefully a lot of the stores will allow him to let a dog sit on their furniture even if he doesn't buy it. Now, the name of this episode is Sexy Villain Erotica. Well, I just skipped out the one thing is there is now Sexy Disney Villain Erotica, where you have people are writing erotica, which are stories about sex, basically. And the characters involved with it are sexy Disney villains. So basically taking any of the villains from any of your favorite Disney films and turning them into erotic sex stories. Not necessarily, recreating like The Little Mermaid, but, using, the characters and having their own storyline, but it is erotica. So, and I just thought, sexy villain erotica would be a nice name for this episode because it'll draw people's attention, won't it? Because you're watching now, aren't you? The blue macaw parrot is now officially extinct. That's kind of sad. The bird from the animated movie Rio is the blue macaw parrot. So now that bird is now extinct officially, and that's not a good thing. Hopefully they'll make their way back like a lot of other extinct animals have recently. This is, again, speculation, and this actually might be a remake that I would be okay with. Chris Hemsworth has spelled out that he would like to see himself, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans, and Robert Downey Jr. remake The Three Amigos. Now, I think Three Amigos is a classic movie from the 80s. Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. Directed by John Landis, I think. It's a great movie. And I think if you get those three together, who always seem to be having a good time when you see them, out talking about their movies and razzing on each other on Twitter, and they all have experiences in comedy. I think you can get the three of them together and make a straight up hilarious sort of Three Amigos remake, and don't make it too serious or action oriented or whatever. Make it like the Three Amigos. I think those three would make a really good trio, and I'm all for that. And I talked about how HBO is going to be having their Watchmen TV show starting this weekend. Well, they're in the midst of making a Practical Magic prequel. Practical Magic is a great movie you watch around this time of the year. Stars Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman as witches who have to try to survive in modern times through hatred and fear of the people in their town while trying to find love. It's a romantic thriller comedy sort of thing. So it's kind of cool. It's a perfect Halloween movie, actually. So it would be a lot of fun to watch that. Excuse me. There's a heatable sloth plush available. Basically, it's the continued trend of where you put stuff in your microwave and you run it in the microwave for a little bit and you pull the stuff out and it's warmed up so that you can cuddle with it or have a pillow or a blanket or whatever, shoes, slippers, whatever. And the heat is trapped inside of these things for a while after you run it in the microwave so that it's constantly warm. So this is the newest thing now, is a plushie of a sloth that you can put in a microwave and do that. A Londoners, a guy from London, has been running a Dungeons and Dragons game for 38 years. So I guess, you keep doing, you meet every day, everybody who's in your team, and you keep running the same story over and over again. You could probably keep going for 38 years. Wouldn't surprise me. A sexy female cosplayer is cosplaying Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, and she took some pictures on the same steps he was on that he filmed in the Joker movie. And man, does she look smoking hot and sexy, even in the Joker makeup and costumes. But the stupid incels, the guys who feel that that women should not be taking over male roles and stuff like that, have been screaming and yelling about how this is terrible because the Joker is a man and you shouldn't have, women should just learn their place, stuff like that. I hate these type of people. They're despicable. And this woman is hot as shit in this Joker outfit, even with the makeup and stuff like that. She's got it going on. So these guys just gotta get over it, man, because she's smoking. This is kind of a funny story. A teen sleeps with all 5 of his bully's moms, who he found on a dating site called slagstreet.com. This is from BBC News, actually, so I don't think it's The Onion or fake news or anything like that. So this guy's being bullied and goes on this slagstreet.com, discovers all their moms are on it, so he goes and ends up having sex with all of them. It's kind of funny. And a good revenge for this guy who's being bullied by these guys. Basically doing stuff like that happened in American Pie. Here's another funny story. Man sues Smart Water brand because drinking the Smart Water, did not make him smart. Now, the guy has no idea that Smart Water isn't smart for your brain. It's smart for your health and your body. But yes, there's an actual person who sued Smart Water because the water did not make him smart. It's in the name. Just in time for Halloween, there's a skull-shaped chair that, when you're not sitting in it, looks like a giant skull. Eyes, teeth, just sitting in your corner. And then when you want to sit on it, you lift the head up, and the teeth are up here and up here, so it looks like he's eating you while you're sitting. It's interesting. Unique, kind of funny. All these are, I don't know if you want to take these with a grain of salt. I'm not 100% certain if these are all true or not, but there is a Disney Plus is possibly going to create a Boba Fett TV show. Hulu is kind of going to be making an Alien TV show based on the movie Alien. So I don't know if these are true or not, but it's a good bet. More than likely, they probably are. So we'll see them in the future, probably. A cat walks into a stray cat walks into a police station to have her kittens, and after she has her kittens, decides, I kind of like this place, so she stays in the police station with her kittens and now has become police kittens and cats. Some local, more personal, I should say, more personal stuff for me. Appalachian State, where my nephew Luke is a senior. He's going to be graduating this year. They are, for the first time ever, first time in a long time, ranked in the national rankings for college football. They're number 24, and they won today again, which was their homecoming game. My sister brother-in-law went last weekend. That was homecoming, so homecoming was probably last weekend. But they won this year. They won today, I should say. So they are one of the only undefeated teams in college football right now. And so they're either going to stay at 24, they might move up to 23 or 22, but they are ranked, and they're having a good year. So more power to them. This last Sunday was my father-in-law's installation. He is now the district master of the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. There's only 135 of these in the whole country, and my father-in-law is one of them. It's a big deal, and he's very proud. He's worked really hard on it, and he deserves it totally. And as always, he wanted to have a big party to celebrate with all of his, fellow Knights of Columbus people and stuff like that. So we went down there, and it was at a shrine for St. Paul, and we had a nice little dinner down there. The whole family did stuff. My brother-in-law Mike made some shredded chicken and pork. My wife's aunt, I guess you could say my aunt-in-law, she made some food as well. Everybody made some food here and there, and they set up the decorations, stuff like that. And me and my brother-in-law Jeff, we became bartenders for the night, so I got to be a bartender, which was cool. We didn't have any mixed drinks or anything like that, but I gave out wine and soda and water and beer. So it was a fun time. So good on that. Only a few more to go. Maybe I can try to squeeze this in an hour and a half, so we'll find out. Speaking of college football, the Oklahoma Sooners, they have a Oklahoma Sooner schooner, which is a covered wagon that is drawn with real horses, that whenever they score a touchdown, this wagon comes out with cheerleaders and stuff on the field and runs around the field and celebrates with the touchdown, stuff like that. Well, in today's game, it was doing it like it always does and has always done for a long time, when it somehow flipped over. Everybody's safe, nobody was hurt, no animals, no people were hurt, but it's kind of scary to see it roll around, and all of a sudden it goes whoop and flips over, and nobody's hurt, and no animals were hurt either. Adam Warlock is also rumored to be getting his own Disney Plus TV show as well. So again, as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, take it with a grain of salt. Ant-Man was supposed to get his own series now, but now they're talking about Ant-Man 3 being a thing as well. So I'm glad if they do an Ant-Man 3, because I love the Ant-Man series, and hopefully that'll be something they can do soon. The Hallmark Channel, which is famous for their Christmas shows and stuff like Christmas movies and stuff like that, has joined the ranks of many other groups and pop culture things to have their own Monopoly game. So now there's Hallmark Channel Monopoly, which is just weird. I guess the street names are names of popular Hallmark Christmas movies or regular movies. I don't know. But it's out there, so if you're fans of that, go ahead for it. An ostrich snuggles with orphaned elephants to make them feel better after they lost their mother. So that was kind of more proof that animals are evolving and caring for each other. An ostrich taking care of baby elephants to help them grieve the loss of their mother elephant is kind of nice. Karen Gillan is being eyed for the Pirates of the Caribbean reboot. They said it was going to be a female pirate. She would be a pretty good choice, I think. She did, I think, a episode of Doctor Who as a pirate, so it might be good. And she's got, she was Nebula in the Avengers movie, so she's got that action thing down pat too. So it could be pretty cool. And she's an attractive woman too, so hey, why not? Finally, the last thing for today was Home Depot is going to be selling a Christmas Story Ralphie inflatable for Christmas. Now, I need to get it because I'm a huge Christmas Story fan, and it's Ralphie in his bunny suit, obviously. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see that inflatable if it's out there and see what it looks like. So it kind of looks interesting. They also will have the Christmas Vacation car with the giant Christmas tree on it is another one. I think there's another Christmas Vacation inflatable that they're selling also. So I saw a bunch of different ones for that as well. Real quick, I'm just going to do some of the Check Eye Day stuff. Just going to go over hour and a half. So see if I can find it here real quick. Today is Sweetest Day. I know that for sure because I posted a video that we did when I worked at, and I still work, but when I worked at Hanover, the old building, we used to make videos all the time. So today, October 19th, is Bridge Day, Dress Like a Dork Day, Evaluate Your Life Day, I Love Yarn Day, International Gin and Tonic Day, International Independent Video Store Day, International Repair Day, LGBT Center Awareness Day, National Fetch Day, National Seafood Bisque Day, New Friends Day, Rainforest Day, Sweetest Day, as I mentioned, World Pediatric Bone and Joint Day. And then tomorrow, the 20th of October, is World Toy Camera Day, World Osteoporosis Day, the International Day of the Air Traffic Controller, Office Chocolate Day, National Youth Confidence Day, National Suspenders Day, National Sunday School Teacher Appreciation Day, National Day on Writing, National Call-In Day for Health Reform, National Brandied Fruit Day, Miss American Rose Day, International Sloth Day, International Chef's Day, Community Media Day, and Birth of the Bab Day. All this is tomorrow, the 20th of October. Okay, so on that note, I think I'm going to say farewell and just check something here real quick. All right, so the Astros are up 4-2, bottom of the 8th inning. Okay, so that's it. A little bit over an hour and a half, but it's all worth it. Thanks for watching. Next week should be interesting. My wife will be gone on her second Wood Badge camping trip, so I will be a single dad again. Both kids will be home. Next Friday is the fall festival at my son's elementary school. Will be his last one since he's in 5th grade. They do a haunted hallway, trunk or treat, stuff like that. Saturday the 26th is going to be Halloween free comic book day. So that's something we should probably talk about right now. It's a good thing I brought it up now. Go to your local comic book stores next Saturday, the 26th, I believe. Today's the 19th, right? Yeah, so 7 days would be the 26th. Yep. So go to your local comic book store on Saturday the 26th, and you'll be able to get some free Halloween-themed comics from Marvel, DC, Archie, Dark Horse, Image, all these places. So definitely worth it. So I'm going to take my kids to that as well. Also, the Reisterstown is going to be doing their Halloween Main Street thing. So if the weather's temperature is good and the kids are up for it, maybe we'll do that as well. So we've got a couple of big Halloween things happening next weekend, since Halloween is actually on a Thursday. So they're not going to do it for that. They'll do it the weekend before. And so with that being done, I'll be doing my show probably again on Saturday night, and I might be doing it upstairs, since by then the kids will be asleep and the wife will be gone, and we'll see. So until then, we will see you later. Have a good rest of your week. 12 days to Halloween. So get your costumes, your Halloween stuff set up, and enjoy the rest of your weekend. It's supposed to rain here on the eastern seaboard tomorrow, so it's going to be a quiet sort of day. We're going to do some Halloween costuming and pumpkining, so we'll find out. All right, gang, see you later. Bye.